Hi, everyone. I wanted to jump in here for a quick update. Over the next few weeks, we're going to be revisiting a handful of our listeners' favorite episodes while we get our summer lineup ready to kick off in early June. I'll still be dropping our fresh solo episodes this month, focused on reinvention, identity shifts, and the conversations women are quietly having behind the scenes as they navigate change in life and work. So be sure to catch those as they drop. Our new guest lineup is right around the corner and it's going to be amazing, so be sure to stay tuned.
If you don't have pain and discomfort, you won't have joy and happiness, right?
Yeah.
You can't have one without the other.
Welcome to The Change Effect, the podcast that helps you turn life transitions into powerful new beginnings. One story, one shift, one breakthrough at a time. I'm your host, Noelle Van, an author, leadership coach, and change strategist who spent years in corporate America helping innovators and leaders break through barriers to create success on their own terms. I now work with women to step into change to create a life they love. Whether you're putting yourself at the center of your own story, redefining success, or making a power pivot in your life, career, or business, you're in the right place. Each week, we dive into conversations with trailblazers, changemakers, and everyday women experiencing the ripple effects that come from overcoming the fear and doing it anyway, providing actionable steps, practical strategies, and a whole lot of fun along the way. So if you're ready to step up and become unstoppable, buckle up and let's get started.
Change has a way of arriving uninvited, sometimes through heartbreak, sometimes through hardship, and sometimes through the kind of challenges that bring us to our knees. For Sarah Brown, adversity has not been an ending, but a doorway to powerful new beginnings. Her path has included sobriety, the end of an 18-year marriage, and a breast cancer diagnosis she not only fought but survived. Along the way, she walked part of the Camino de Santiago, a pilgrimage that mirrored her own journey of healing and renewal. And today, Sarah stands in a new chapter, thriving in love, grounded in purpose, and deeply committed to helping others find strength in their own stories. With a master's degree in clinical counseling and over 3 decades of executive coaching, Sarah brings both wisdom and compassion to her work. She lives by the philosophy of amor fati, to love one's fate, and believes that even the hardest moments carry gifts if we are willing to shift our perspective. For Sarah, the question is simple yet profound. When life tests you, will you choose gratitude or will you hold on to resentment? Because while we don't always choose what happens to us, we can always choose how we meet it. In her much-loved podcast, Failing Forward, Sarah's philosophy on life was expressed the best, reminding us that even the most difficult experiences are not the end. They are often the very soil in which new beginnings take root. Sarah, it is so wonderful to have you joining us. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. That was so beautiful. Thank you for that. I just was like soaking it in.
Oh, see,
And
isn't it
it almost
nice?
felt, it almost felt like it wasn't me, I was like,
Really?
oh, that is me. Yeah.
See, did anything surprise you?
The breast cancer thing is still a thing for me because I kind of didn't want to really own that I had it until
Mm.
like I started doing some therapy around that. So I never associated with the word survivor. So when you said that, that's what kind of jumped out at me. I'm like, oh God, I did survive breast cancer. And the further away I get from it, the more real it's sort of become. I think when I was in the middle of it, it was literally like one day at a time, kind of like with sobriety. It's like, I'm just going to focus on today. I can't think about tomorrow. And in a way, that was good. But in another way, it sort of pushed off fear, acceptance, all that kind of stuff that, now I'm working on.
It's funny that you were saying that the perspective on it kind of comes later, because that's so true. When you're in the muck of it all and you're kind of in that middle of all the turmoil of it, you're just trying to get through, which maybe
Yeah,
is it, maybe that's the blessing, right?
that is the blessing.
Well, now let's go back a little. Start where you want to start, but I would love to take us through when change really started happening. And I know that's probably a broad way of approaching it because change happens all our lives. But after sobriety, is that when you kind of started to have these different shifts happening? Or when did it all start where then you kind of had a series
Yeah,
of
I
life
would say
shifts?
sobriety like opened me
Yeah.
wide open. And I share with people that my sobriety was, I don't really like this term, but I had what people would call a pretty high bottom.
Mm.
I wasn't a daily drinker. However, every day I was thinking about it. Every day I was organizing. Am I going to drink today? Am I going to drink tomorrow? And it was more this obsession of the mind. And also it was a social addiction too, because I was so used to anytime I'd go out, anytime I'd be with friends, anytime I'd celebrate, anytime I was sad, anytime I had a hard day at work, right?
Yeah.
But it was managed. It was, so I thought. And then it really started getting worse and worse. And before it got super bad, my ex-husband at the time, which I thank him for this, he was the one that was like, yeah, I think it's time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
And this
weird.
is how many years ago?
8.5 years ago.
8.5.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
8.5. And I was telling my partner now, I was saying that one of the blessings of my first marriage was that he gave me sobriety. And I don't think I would have gotten sober or stayed sober then. Because I remember thinking like, oh, if Dave and I broke up, I think I'm going to start drinking again. Like, I'm doing this for him, not me. And then I was sober long enough that it's not for him, it was for me. But I'm appreciative of that a great deal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big reveal, right? That it actually ends up being about us.
Right. I mean,
oh, that was
like,
actually a really good idea.
right. Like why I ever thought that it was
Right.
an external, it should have been, but the external motivation is really what triggered the change, right?
Yes.
And that has been true for me my entire life. I need some sort of external push. I need an external motivator to make
Yeah.
any change. Like my business closed. So then I thought, okay, I'm going to do this podcast about failure because I need somebody to teach me how to be resilient.
Mhm.
And it was like that pain and suffering. And that's why I love this whole concept of amor fati, because it's really stoicism and it's all about learning from pain, learning by what you're dealt. And I just find that to be way more empowering than the alternative.
Right. Well, and it also kind of flips it around to everything that kind of comes your way as a lesson.
Yes. 100. Do you believe that?
I absolutely believe it. I believe it more now than I ever did before, though. I mean, I think it took me a lot of falling down and coming back up to realize like, oh, wow, okay, there's a pattern here. And every time that I do have something that is extremely painful or something that is shifting me internally, oh my gosh, it's a gift. But you don't see that in the moment. It's really looking back. But now I feel like everything that happens to me feels like a lesson, good, bad, or indifferent. You know what I mean? It's a different way to look at it.
I'm interested in this, and I've shared this with you, but this whole concept around like developing wisdom. And if I were in my 20s, how could I develop wisdom? And when I think about wisdom, it's like intuition, it's applying experiences, reflection. Do you think that people can learn at an earlier age, like really know and believe that every hardship is a gift?
I don't know. I go
Do you
back
think
and
it comes
forth
with
on that
age?
because, well, I don't even know that age necessarily, but experience. Like the more that you experience, the more you're going to have those opportunities to look at things differently. I've also known people that are in their 20s and 30s that are older souls and they process things differently and more deeply. So I don't think that it's impossible. I just think that the one thing that I'm so grateful to have as I've gotten older is that ability to really look back and really have perspective on my life. And I don't know that I would have had that in my 30s. That's just me personally.
And I think it's better since I cut out alcohol, because alcohol made it all foggy.
Yes.
And I just feel like I see things clearly now, like really grateful for. Yeah. Oh, I know what I wanted to tell you. This is so random, but you made me think about it when you were reading my intro.
Mm-hmm.
I have an older sister who's awesome. And she, since I was little, Noelle, she would call me the little engine that could. Do you remember the little engine?
I loved that book. I loved that book.
I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. And even when I can't, I mean, I kind of tell myself I think I can.
That
And
is
sometimes I
awesome.
don't do it. I can't do it, but at least I've tried.
Yes. That is so sweet. I love that. And does she feel that way about you? She said that she feels like you kind of pick yourself up.
Yeah, she's always called me her little engine that could. I know.
I love
It's so
that.
cute. I
It
know.
is. But now, Sarah, getting back to your story, because this is what I think is so amazing about you. You and I met when you were fairly new in sobriety, but you had started failing forward. So you were doing the podcast at the time, right? This
Yes.
is pre-divorce. I believe this was
Yeah.
pre-divorce. And so tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about that experience, the podcast itself, and then kind of moving forward from there. Because you've had some pretty significant detours.
So I get sober. I close a business. I get sober. I get a new job. I go back into corporate, which I never thought I would do. And I'm still there. Clearly, I love it. And then I guess I was like, oh gosh, 4 or 5 years sober. I found out on my birthday that my husband was cheating on me. And I had sort of like known this is where intuition is so important. And I should have listened to myself because I just knew it. It was probably the best birthday present I could have gotten because I would not have left him before that, right? Like
Yeah.
I needed that. I was like committed and we're married and this is long term and we make it work, blah, 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 blah. So I found that out on my birthday. That sucked. It was like I think it was harder than my parents dying
Oh
because they're
man.
just not, they're not the person you think they are. They're like
Yeah.
dead, but they're still living.
Hmm.
So that really stunk it. And sometimes I wonder if the breast cancer was like in response to a couple people have like, and there are a couple psychologists who were talking about how like trauma we hold in our chest and can come out as cancer. I'm not blaming myself for the breast cancer, just so you
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
And people listening, this is not a blaming thing either. It just is what it is. But okay, so we get divorced. I have the podcast, which was killer. I had podcast, I had my corporate job, and then I was doing some executive coaching, and my life was really full. And I think when you're going through pain, being of service to others is the only thing that can get you through. And so I was focused on serving those coaching clients and hearing my podcast guest stories. And really, that really got me through because
Yeah.
I mean, we were married 18 years, we were together 20.
Yeah.
So it was big change. It was a big change socially too. I mean, we weren't hanging out with the friend. I had some people who, not my close friends, but I had one or two people who stopped talking to me, even though I did nothing wrong, but
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. And today I've forgiven my ex-husband. Girl, I prayed rosaries every week for him and for the woman that, and they're still together.
Wow.
Yeah.
That says a lot. That says a
But I
lot.
didn't want to be that angry
Yeah.
divorcee.
Hmm.
It's so unbecoming. But I also want to say it's okay to be angry. So this happens. Okay. Then the breast cancer comes. And there were so many cool stories about this breast cancer thing, but I knew I had it before. Like I had gone, that I had a bad mammogram, and then they said, and they did a ultrasound or sonogram, whatever that is. And then they were like, we might there, blah, blah, blah. And I got in the car and I called my sister. I said, I know I have it. I just knew. It goes back to
Oh,
this intuition. I just
yes.
knew it. And every time something terrible in my life happened, the affair, and then there's this one friend of mine who was always, we're always going on trips together. So we're going on this trip to Arizona the next day. I said to the doctor, hey, can you just biopsy this right now? And they were like, ha ha ha, no, you can come back next Tuesday. This was a Wednesday or a Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm leaving the next day to go to Arizona on to a spa like weekend retreat
Oh,
with this friend. And we got there and I was like, hey, I need to tell you something. This came up, blah, blah, blah. And I gotta tell you, I kind of think I have it. And she said, okay, well then, let's update your vision board. And I'm like, F my vision board, girl. I can't like vision anything. I can't dream right now. I just need to get through this. And
right.
she was like, no, you actually really need to work on your vision board. She made me do it. I put a picture of I think it's Half Moon Bay in California. I always
Yes.
felt this draw to California. Like, and I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, y'all. And I had a picture of a man and a woman and like snuggling in a bed. And I had a picture of like a healthy, fit woman. And 9 months after my breast cancer diagnosis, I met the love of my life, who is from the Bay Area. And we love to visit out there.
You
Yeah,
can't make this up. You cannot make this up.
no. And when I
No.
showed him the vision board, he was like, really? Because he doesn't believe really in that stuff.
Until now.
Until now. I did go to this healer at the spa that I went to, and I told her, I have this health scare. I don't know. And she was like, yeah, you have it. She's like, but you're going to be fine. And you're going to actually meet somebody. You're going to fall in love again. And there's something with England and him.
No.
Rob's parents are from London.
No. No, no, no.
I swear.
Seriously?
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Yeah, the British.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Oh my God.
So many like groovy synchronicities happen. And I know
Yes.
I know some people are like, I don't know if I believe that, but why not?
Right.
Why not believe in that stuff?
Absolutely. And I mean, you don't have to be super spiritual to buy into some of that stuff. I don't believe. But then again, I've been living in California all my life. And I have family from Chicago that look at me cross-eyed when I tell them things like that all the time. They're like, okay, all right, whatever.
No, but I think
no.
more and more people are agreeing with that.
That there's a little bit more out there than we see. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go to this healer. So this is what year was this that you were diagnosed
This
again?
was 2023.
Okay. And then when did you decide to do the Camino? Did you have that already?
Oh,
that was the same
my
friend?
gosh. No, that was a different friend. But actually, the friend that went with me, this goes back to my birthday again. I forgot this. So on my 49th birthday, I went to dinner with one of my besties, and she was dating a guy whose first wife had breast cancer and died. She's a germaphobe and a hypochondriac. And she was like, I'm going to get breast cancer. I'm totally going to get it. Blah, 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 blah. I was like, you're such a spaz. I haven't had a mammogram in like 7 years. You're fine. And she was pissed. And she said to me, tomorrow, I'm not talking to you until you book a mammogram. I would not have found out about the breast cancer if I hadn't booked the mammogram. It was because of her, because she wouldn't talk to
Oh
me.
my God. No.
So because of her, I got the mammogram, and it was very early detection.
Yes.
And so after I got better, I said, and through the surgeries, I was like, I really want to walk the Camino. Like, I want to do this, but I want to do it in really like, let's just say I didn't do it like the pilgrim hard way. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It was
You
a little
did
bit
what you
easier.
did. Who cares?
I did what I
you
did. Okay.
Yes.
Like they had
Yes.
snacks ready for us. They would have picked us up if we needed a ride, like that kind of jazz. Anyway, she came with me, and then another really good friend, and they came to celebrate. Like, so many people did so many things for me when I was sick. So I asked my friends and said, I'm not going to go ask for things for me on this walk. I'm going to take everybody else's prayers. So every morning I'd say their prayers that they gave me and reflect on that as I walked. And so it was really a gratitude trip for me, like big time.
That is amazing. Did you
So when you
feel
get to
any?
the town, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say, did you feel any of that? Because I've heard it's a very spiritual
I did.
experience.
When you get to the cathedral, there is a statue of Saint John the Apostle. He's buried there. So there's this big like statue of him, and it's behind the altar, and you go up and you can touch it, and people touch it or they don't. And I just felt this calling to just hug it. And, a hug after you've had a bilateral mastectomy, hugs are pretty personal because you're sore, you've had surgery on a very personal space. And I just remember being like, I'm going to give this guy the biggest hug. And I did. I'm
I
sure people
love
behind me, in
it.
front of me were like, what the? So I did. I really felt, and
Yeah.
I felt I just felt so much love and gratitude. And
Yes.
I was falling in love at that point. I just met Rob. So I just really, yeah, I was so grateful.
It's such a different energy too. Like I can tell that like that was a turning point for you.
It was a turning point. I don't even think I knew it was a turning point.
I feel like everything that you have, and this is just knowing you and having conversation with you through a lot of this, you have this really healthy way of looking at life. I mean, even from your podcast, because I remember you describing the podcast to me when we first got to know each other. And I was like, what a great like way of looking at life in general, of like, actually let's celebrate failure, let's like talk about it and let's put it out there and have an honest conversation about it, and let's celebrate because there's always something on the other side of it, right? And not to say, I mean, you had obviously health scares and challenges, and then coming out the other end of that too, that's not necessarily a failure, but it's these challenges in life that kind of can throw
Yeah.
you backwards, and then you kind of get back up and throw you backwards.
It's challenges. And I think it's also like suffering.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people like that word suffering, but there are great gifts that come from
Yes.
suffering.
What would be advice that you would give to someone? And I mean, we've just talked about several situations that could be really, really earth shattering for someone, right? Divorce can be an extremely traumatic situation for people. Maybe starting with that, what would you say was your biggest sort of takeaway from that experience? If you were to tell somebody going through it right now, and maybe somebody who's saying, I don't know even how to deal with this.
Can I start with sobriety first?
Oh,
Because a
yes,
friend had
please.
reminded me of this the other day. I had been sober, God, like a couple months, and I saw her at a work event. She's a coworker, but also a friend. And she had just cut out alcohol. Like she was like 7, 10 days into it. She was white knuckling this stuff.
Yeah.
She was crying. She's crying at this work event. She was just like, after the first couple weeks, you're
Yes.
just riddled with anxiety
Yes.
until you figure it out, right? And I don't remember saying this to her, Noelle, but I guess I said, you have just received the greatest gift of your life. Like, life is going to be so much better for you after sobriety. You were
Yes.
probably miserable before. So that would be my number one thing, which is you think you're not going to be fun anymore.
Mhm.
You think you're not going to have any fun anymore. But the reality is it's the opposite of that, because you were never probably really fun to begin with if you were drinking that much,
Yeah. Yeah.
And now, like, uh, okay, I had sex for the first time without alcohol, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I fell in love without alcohol, and it's
Yes.
wonderful. You know what I mean? It just was so muted. Everything was
Mhm.
so muted by it, even though I thought it was I thought it was elevating. It wasn't. That would be the drinking one. And then the cancer one, do not go to Google and Google everything. Do not talk to people. If you start to talk to somebody who you can tell is bumming you out, get out of that conversation and don't continue having like conversations with them about your diagnosis.
Yep.
You have to protect your energy around it. And I talked to a young woman, mom of 3 kids, last week, and she's like, I can't tell you how many people are saying these things to me. And I said, cut it off or tell them, hey, thank you, but I really, I'm not interested, or something.
Mhm.
Like, no, everybody's experience is different. And if I listened to every person who had been through it before me and to what their issues were with it, I would have been miserable.
Right. Like you have to really preserve that internal sort of.
Yeah, because you don't know what's going to happen. Everybody's diagnosis is so different. How you respond to the drugs and surgeries and chemo and radiate, like you don't know.
Yes.
So don't listen to them. Like protect, 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 protect. That's what I
Yes.
would say.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that because I think that I've shifted my way of thinking of life lately, and it's all about energy to me. Like, it's like, well, is it going to suck my energy? Is it not going to suck my energy? Like when I wake up in the morning, is that thought going to bring me good energy or is it going to like set me off for a day of a lot of pain and anguish? Oh, I think I'm going to pick the other. It's that knowing that you have the choice to really like exert energy where you know that it's going to be well serving you and not where
Yeah.
it's not.
Energy goes where intention flows, or intention flows and energy goes. So
Yes.
whatever your intention is, the energy is going to follow that. And also, I'm super into, you and I've talked about this a little bit, but like this whole embodiment piece of connection of mind and body. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a really big school of thought that's kind of hitting both the coasts and I think around the world, actually. But it's this whole concept of like really tapping into, hey, how did my body feel around that? Did I get a tight chest or was my heart open? Did I get a tight jaw or, like really getting in touch?
Mm-hmm.
Are you grounding yourself? Like feeling your back against the chair, feeling your feet on the ground. I mean, people are really into, and I know there's research showing about getting your hands into the soil, your bare feet on the grass. Like there is a connection,
Mm-hmm.
and we cannot disconnect those two things of
So
mind
true.
and body.
Well, and I think in all that you have described that you've experienced, right, where you've had emotional trauma, you've had physical trauma, and then on the opposite end of that, right, you've been in a new relationship and all that. When you think about emotion, because I always think back on my pre-sobriety days where I was so dissociated with my body. I mean, literally probably could not have told you what emotion I was experiencing because I couldn't feel it physically and I couldn't, it's like a lack of being able to process because your central nervous system is so compromised. Do you
Yeah.
feel like throughout the course of these things all happening, have you had a different experience in your relationship with your emotions as these things have happened?
100%. So I'm an Enneagram 7, and everything for me is reframe, reframe, reframe because I want to avoid feeling pain or discomfort. And my growth edge is to feel pain and discomfort because pain and discomfort, if you don't have pain and discomfort, you won't have joy and happiness, right?
Yeah.
You can't have one without the other. And so the emotion thing's been really hard for me, but something that I have to keep working on.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I was going to tell you is that we are talking emotion, but I'm going to go back to the body a little bit. When somebody would take me through guided meditation in my body, I had such a hard time connecting with the body because of all those messages over the years, like you're fat, your stomach's not flat, your arms are flabby, all the negative things about my body.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm trying to work on is, God, your body she worked really hard to keep that cancer out. Man, did she bounce back from a bilateral mastectomy. So I'm like, girl, you are strong. Yeah. Like
Yes.
that's the stuff I'm trying. I'm really trying to not be in the your body sucks.
Right. Or just beating yourself up about any kind of false belief
Yeah.
that has been going through I mean, we all experience that, right? We all go back to a place that we're like, wait a minute, how am I going there today? I don't understand.
Right.
Because it just has a way of creeping back in if you're not conscious about it.
Yeah. And as we get older, I'm even more critical of my
Yeah.
wrinkles and my skin, and it's like, well, I mean, like, okay, let's be honest. I still put Botox on my forehead, but like I also want to like love myself too.
Yes. The way you describe all of this to me, I really do. I get such a strong sense from you, Sarah. I mean, you're a learner, right? You're always learning, you're always
Yeah.
growing, you're always looking for the lesson and everything. But you've given yourself the grace to go through a lot. And you're super honest about it, which is something that I've always admired about you. You're very honest about what's happening, right? It's like some people be like, oh, no, I'm fine. Everything's, No, like you're very honest as you're going through the experience of what's happening and kind of how that's affecting you. And that I think is such a huge step in the direction of then getting to know your emotions internally. Because the more you can describe that and be authentic around it, the more that happens. But I will just bring up one thing, and this is only from one Midwestern girl to another. We weren't really taught maybe to be as emotionally connected. And that's not just a Midwestern thing. But I think that we have a tendency, we can kind of brush over that stuff because that's sometimes kind of just the way that we were brought up, or that, I mean, I always laugh because I say I come from a family of, people from Chicago are a little bit less, nothing's a big deal. Nothing's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because,
No,
we live in
it's
a
not.
place that's, it snows 7 months out of the year. Come on, like everybody just get with it and get a backbone. I mean, it's that type of mentality
totally
sometimes,
Like my mom, I mean, if she was still alive, her mentality was you pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Like,
Yes.
and she was super pragmatic about stuff. Like, it wasn't that she was a Pollyanna, and it wasn't like she was like, woe is me, but it
Right.
was like, okay, we're going to deal with this.
Yes.
Now, on the flip side, though, to your point, my parents were pretty good, and I think they were like early adopters of emotions and the importance of therapy. And we did family therapy, and we would have family
Nice.
meetings, and we would pray as a family. They were kind of like a little progressive on that. I think back then a lot of families prayed, but like family therapy was not the
No.
norm.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of modeled for me, which is really nice. Oh, and my dad was in the program. He was in AA before my parents met. So he was very used to talking about feelings.
Yes. Oh, that's such a gift though to have that, because to see that and mirror back what that's about is really important as a kid.
And then he made it safe for us. Like,
Yes.
Noelle, I haven't told this story in a long time, but I remember he got diagnosed with cancer when I was pretty young, like sixth grade, and then sixth or seventh. And then by the time I was a freshman in high school, he was on death's door. Like, they were like, you have 6 months. And my mom was like, no. And she took him to this holistic doctor. They cut out all Western medicine, and she took him to a holistic doctor, and he lived for another 7 years. Like, no more lung cancer. All this stuff was gone. But so there was a happy ending. But I remember when they gave him, I don't know if it's when they gave him 6 months, but when he was really bad, they sat us all down and they were like, Dad's really sick, and we want to talk about how this is impacting each one of you. And they let us talk through it. Like, who did that in the 80s?
I know. That is pretty amazing. That is
I
really
know.
amazing. And to be able to do that, do you remember how that felt to be able to say
Very
that?
heavy. It was super heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't like thinking about it. Yeah, it was not pleasant. But what's the alternative? Pretend like Dad's fine when he's not?
Exactly. There's nothing worse than pretending something's not happening.
Yeah.
Oh, Sarah, I could talk to you for hours, as we know this. You and I know this.
Yes.
As we come to a close here, I want to ask you what your advice around change, because it doesn't have to be anything specific, right? If you were someone who was having a hard time looking at an area of your life that you wanted to change, what would your advice to them be?
First step, I would journal out and freestyle journal. Why am I having a hard time looking at this? Or why am I having a hard time with this XYZ? Because I think there's probably something behind that. And if you can figure out what's behind that, it's like, didn't Einstein say, like, a problem defined as a problem solved? So if you understand what the root cause is, you can better address it. I want to give you an example because it just happened today. So there are some decisions at work that have to be made, and it's going to impact our culture. And I was really struggling with this potential change, and I couldn't figure out, it was just bugging me. it's like that little pebble in your shoe. It just keeps bugging. And so I ended up journaling out what's really bothering me.
Yeah.
And I got to what my core fear was. And then I could talk to my boss about, hey, here's what I'm worried about. And he was like, oh, okay, well, let's talk through that. And we worked through it. So it's like, journal it out.
Yes. Well, and you just brought up a great point, is that a lot of times, especially when we're writing, I mean, it's all subconscious stuff, right? So it comes up and sometimes it's surprising what you see, but fear is typically behind most of it. I mean, I always think of, the clients that I work with all the time when we talk about change. There's 50,000 other ways that they could describe why they don't want to do something, but the core root is typically fear, or at least like fear of the unknown or fear of not knowing what's on the other side of it, which, by the way, we're all living a life here that is not guaranteed. Like, we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring anyway. So it's like, it's a different way. It's a different way of looking at it. But I wanted to ask you that question only because there's been a lot. I mean, you've had a lot of change. Now you've talked about your new love. Obviously you've got a lot going on there. Anything else coming up for you? What's on the horizon for you work-wise and with your clients?
I love my day job, and I lead people and culture. And then I have been focusing on executive coaching in the conservation area. And it's not just there, it's other areas too. But I feel really drawn right now to work with those folks because funding's getting cut. There are changes. And so it's gotten harder for them. And this is not a political statement because I'm right in the middle, but they need more support. And so I've just been really jazzed about that. Oh, by the way, that was a picture that was in my vision board of like animals. And I didn't know why. Yes.
This vision board thing, I got to get back to mine. I got to get back to it.
I know. It really is something. It tells you something. It's like soul work or something. I don't know. So I'm focused on that. And then I'm kind of maybe looking at a new business idea, but I don't know where that's going to go. And so it's the coaching and the other thing that I'm really, and the Enneagram. I'm really like learning, digging in about the Enneagram. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, Sarah, it is so fun to talk to you. And we're going to probably do a follow-up with you because we have to. Because every time that I talk to you, something new is happening. And I have to follow along. And I know the listeners want to follow along now too.
Thank you for having me. By the way, do you know that you have the most beautiful voice? Because you and I talked on the phone. We didn't FaceTime until a couple weeks ago. Like, we talked over the phone for years.
We did. Yes, we did. I don't think we did do a Zoom for a long time.
No, other than the podcast.
I think that was it. I was on your podcast years ago.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Sarah, for coming on. It's such a joy. Anyways, thank you for being our guest. Thank you for listening to The Change Effect. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review if you enjoyed this episode, so more women like you can find us and take their next step toward creating a life they love.